So, for us, anarchism is an ideology, okay, but not an ideology in the Marxist sense. We defend anarchism as an ideology, defining ideology as some thoughts, some values, some perspectives that people had in the past, and it was something that was born inside the popular movement of the 19th century. So we think, as other socialism, as other socialist traditions, anarchism emerged from the popular movement of the 19th century. So it was a feeling, it was a thought that was present in the social movement, in the worker movement of that period, and then some theoretical, some important anarchists or some important members of this socialist tradition started to reflect on these issues and started writing on these issues. So I agree with this vision defended by Lucien van der Walt and Michael Schmidt, and that is a vision that is shared by us in Brazil by some writers like Alexandre Samis from Rio de Janeiro, for example, that anarchism starts in this later 19th century worker movement as an ideology that promotes some kind of interaction with the world, trying to change it. So, historically speaking, we think that Proudhon started to formalize these thoughts, but it was really with Bakunin and with the Alliance, okay, and when the Alliance is formed in 1868, that the anarchism is organized internationally and collectively. Starts to develop significantly with Bakunin and the Alliance after 1868. So inside the International was funded in 1864. So the International was a worker organization that was being developed, and anarchism emerges fundamentally by this international, by this worker movement, and with Bakunin and the Alliance, it gains an international and a collective character, and so anarchism starts to spread to the whole world, and that's how we consider anarchism, an ideology, and an ideology for us has necessarily an aspect of political practice. So, this relation between theory and practice. So for us, anarchism is not just theory, it's not just practice. It's ideology that involves both theory and practice. So, it's a theory that emerges from practice, and at the same time, a practice that is being done by these theoretical features to transform the reality. So, for us, anarchism is this ideology that by these theoretical views that we admitted from the reality, from the practice, anarchism is this ideology that tries to transform or to change the world, and promoting a specific strategy. So that's how we define anarchism. So during the whole history of the socialist movement and the anarchist movement, we can observe different strategies, but mainly this core of anarchism as a kind of socialism and anarchism as an ideology that was brought in the 19th century it spreads all over the world and developed some different strategies. Some anarchists defended organization, some anarchists was against organization. There was lots of strategical debates, tactical debates, but mainly that's how I see anarchism. Nowadays, I defend one position inside anarchism. So, in the strategic terms, okay, in this big discussion, and I agree with this division made by Michael Schmidt and Lucien of mass anarchism and insurrectionary anarchism, I'm in the mass anarchism tradition that defended the revolutionary syndicalism, the anarcho-syndicalism, a big part of anarcho-communism, and other traditions. So I think that this process of changing society necessarily has to be done by big mass movements. So I think our main strategy is to create these social movements and to be part of the existing social movements to promote this strategy of mass movements changing. So that's our main point of view. And then in the tactical debates, we defend a position that we think that started with Bakunin, that we call Especifismo. Especifismo is a term that we use here in Latin America to define this trend of anarchism, this trend of mass anarchism that defends that the better way for you to promote the creation of new social movements and to promote the development of already existing social movements, the main point is by organizing a specific anarchist organization. So we think that these organizations can work together with the movements to help to create and to develop and to give them some, or to stimulate some determinate perspectives inside the social movements. So what is Especifismo? Especifismo is this trend that we think that was born with Bakunin, that had some moments of development in the theory of Enrico Malatesta, of Piotr Kropotkin, and that some members inside the French CGT, for example, and after by the comrades of the Diego Truda group, that after the Russian Revolution developed a theory on anarchist organization that was formalized in the platform theory. So we do not call ourselves platformists because we think the platformist project is based on Bakunin rights. It's based on Bakunin main ideas. We do not call ourselves anarcho-communists because we think that Especifismo was bought before anarcho-communism has emerged. Anarcho-communism is a phenomenon of the 70s, the 1870s. And we think that our tradition emerged in the 60s. So when we defend this position of Especifismo, we're basically saying that the whole process of struggle, and we believe in struggle for short-term goals, and also together with long-term goals, we believe that this struggle, this class struggle, is necessarily to be done by mass movements, and to have mass movements and to deal with the forces and the power inside these movements, we need an anarchist organization. Mainly we defend that with this anarchist organization, or with anarchist organizations and social movements, we can build what we call here in Latin America popular power. It's something as people use there in Africa, and normally they call counterpower. Okay, we call it here popular power. What is popular power? It's when we can develop in this collective space of the movements, of the people, and when I say mass movements, I'm thinking in union movement or syndicalist movement, I'm thinking in communitary movement, I'm thinking in students movement, I'm thinking in peasant movement. So different kind of movements. So we do not give priority to industrial workers, like some part of the Marxists. So we think the people, our notion of class, in fact, is a big, it's biggest than this narrow view of industrial workers. So we think that this class struggle approach that we defend should involve, in this process of class struggle, mainly all people that are oppressed. So when we define class, we're mainly working with this category of domination.